Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and to another video. In this video I'm going to be talking about how I make clay earrings. This was actually my first time making clay earrings, so I thought it'd be a really nice idea to share my experience with you. I'm really happy with how they turned out considering this was my first time making earrings. I think they look super cute and yeah, I'm really excited to share how I made them with you guys. So first I thought I'd share the materials that I used to make the earrings. I used fimo polymer clay in 4 different colours, earring hooks, screw eye pins, jump rings, pliers, specifically for jewellery because you'll need ones that are quite small and able to work with small pieces of metal, a hand drill, drill bits, cardboard or some thick paper, some Mod Podge or an alternative varnish, scissors, some tools to use for working with the clay. I used an old nail file and some pieces from an old manicure kit, a rolling pin, or in my case I was resourceful and used a recycled glass bottle, baking paper, and I actually forgot to mention that you're also going to need a pencil, a cutting mat or an alternative smooth surface that you don't mind getting clay on, and some acrylic paints too. So first of all, I prepared the shapes of the earrings that I wanted. I had a few stencils that I already used for my clay pins that I thought would make really cute earrings, so I thought I would reuse some of those. And there were some other shapes that I also wanted as well. I wanted to make some flower earrings with stems and then also just some like flower heads as well. So using the thick paper that I had to hand, I just freehand sketched out some shapes that I thought would make cute earrings, and then just using the scissors cut around those so I could get the desired shapes of the earrings that I wanted. You can also get cutters and stencils especially for making clay earrings, but I wanted something quite specific, so I just thought that I would go ahead and do this myself. So now you can see I'm moving on to working with the clay. I made the error of forgetting to place the baking paper down, which was something that I'd read online that people were advising, and the clay got really sticky and was really sticking to the cutting mat. It was really hard to work with straight onto the cutting mat, so later on you'll see me add the baking paper down just as a barrier between the clay and the surface I was working on. So yeah, I started kneading the clay and rolling it out and getting it to about 5mm in thickness, and then started cutting around the stencils that I made to create the shapes that I wanted. So once I cut out the shapes, I worked the clay with the tools that I had to hand just to smooth it out and to get rid of any of the indentations and imperfections that I didn't want to be there for the final result. So I just kind of smoothed the clay down with my fingers or using the tools that I had to hand. So you can see here that I'm now putting the baking paper down, which was a real help, let me tell you. I actually stuck it down originally, but that didn't really work very well, so I ended up just leaving it loose and that was fine. It was a little bit like fiddly to work on, but I got the hang of it in the end. It just takes a bit of practice and patience. Something that I would really recommend that you don't do is overworking the clay in your hands before you start to roll it out. I didn't realise, but polymer clay gets really warm and really sticky very quickly. Because I'm used to working with air dry clay, this hasn't been something that I have had any issues with in the past, and the clay just becomes so sticky. You will be rolling it out once you've been kneading it in your hands and it just gets completely stuck to the surface, as I was saying earlier, and just becomes absolutely impossible to work with. So I wasn't really sure what to do because I found that it would happen even after holding it just for a few minutes. So I actually read online that it's a really good thing to kind of roll it up into a ball, work the clay so it's nice and soft, and then put it into the fridge for about 10 minutes. And this worked really well for me, and I would really recommend doing that if you're going to be working with this clay in particular. So yeah, I basically repeated the steps of rolling out the clay, cutting around the stencils and smoothing the clay pieces down for each shape that I wanted. So I'll let you enjoy the rest of this footage and I'll be back in a few moments to talk about the next step. So once all of your shapes are ready, you then need to place them on a baking tray. Now I put all of the shapes onto some baking paper and then onto the baking tray to prevent any sticking, and I baked the pieces for 20 to 30 minutes. The amount of time that you should bake the clay depends on how thick it is, so I would recommend looking at what the brand of clay that you're using recommends. So once the clay pieces were out of the oven, I used the hand drill to make some holes in the top of the pieces and then screwed in the eye pins. Now it was time for me to paint the clay. So as I said earlier, I used acrylic paints to add the final details to my clay pieces. I just find that acrylic paint works really well onto clay, and it means also that you don't have to worry about it smudging, because I know a few people have had issues with gouache and things like that in the past because it reactivates with water. I've seen that people have had issues with smudging and things once they've started varnishing the clay later on, even though the paint's dried. So I would really recommend using acrylic paints because once it's down, it's not going to budge. So yeah, this worked really well for me. Once I finished painting the clay, I then added the Mod Podge varnish, which just gave the earrings a really lovely shiny finish, and yeah, just made them look that bit more complete and professional. And last but not least, it was time for me to assemble the earrings. So I used the pliers that I showed earlier on. I actually got these from Amazon. If you'd like me to share the links to the tools that I used in this video, then please do let me know and I'll pop them in the description. But yeah, I just got these pliers on Amazon. They really weren't expensive. So I initially thought that I would attach a jump ring in between the eye pin and the earring hook, and I gave this a go first, but it actually just made the earring hang in a really clumsy way. It just wasn't looking very nice, and it wasn't really hanging off of my ear very well when I tested it. So I decided to leave out the jump rings for these designs. I think I'll use them in the future for some different designs, and I'm sure they'll work better with other designs. But yeah, I just decided to leave the jump rings out for these designs in the end. So I just attached the earring hooks to the eye pins, and that just made them hang in a really nice and elegant way. And yeah, I was so happy with how they turned out. So these are the finished earrings. I really hope that you guys like them. They're going to be coming to my shop this month. So if you're interested in grabbing a pair for yourself, I recommend that you follow me over on Instagram, and there you'll hear about any updates about when my shop update is going to be. I haven't got a date just yet, but I'll be announcing a date over on Instagram very soon. And yeah, I really hope that you like how they've turned out, and I hope that this video has inspired you to try something new, maybe to make your own range of earrings. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more from me. I would absolutely love to have you here. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye!